Hey guys, and welcome to today's Cosmic Chat with Debbie Sugarbaker. I am so excited now to be bringing on Rachel Scoltock, who is an angel medium and an intuitive development mentor. So I'm going to add her and we will get started right away.
Hi.
Hi Rachel.
Hi, Debbie. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. I'm so sorry about the time difference.
Oh, look, it's okay. It happens, doesn't it? When we're in that liminal zone, we can forget.
Yeah, we
It's a
must
lot.
have, I think that we arranged it before the daylight savings, and then so the time difference is a little tricky.
Yeah, that's right. And especially with Australia, like everyone changes their time zone at different times, right? So we have to catch up with each other. But we're here now. That's great.
No, it's amazing to connect with someone in Australia too, because so it's Thursday morning for you, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Thursday.
that's right. Thursday, 11 a.m. Yeah.
We're literally on different days.
Yeah, that's right. It's really strange, isn't it? Like you're the day before and in your evening. Yeah. But it's wonders of technology. We can connect with each other.
Exactly. And it's also kind of magical because it's like we're kind of connecting beyond time, and we're here. We're going to be talking about angels today, and angels work outside of time also, right?
That's right. In the spiritual realm, there is no time. There is no time at all. So that it doesn't matter what the timing is. It's always perfect.
Exactly, and that's how I feel also about this chat that we're doing, because we had actually planned it a while back, and it's just interesting because I also been studying Kabbalah for many years, and in this week's reading, this week's portion that we study, it's about the three angels that came to Abraham. So it's really interesting. It just feels like they're around, and it was totally
Yeah,
unplanned. Oh,
perfect.
perfect. Yeah.
What amazing synchronicity. And which three angels are they?
I think it was Gabriel, Raphael, and I'm maybe Michael. I need to check, and now I'm kind of embarrassed
Yeah,
because I didn't check it out beforehand. I didn't actually go into it, but yeah.
no, that's okay. They're the top four are Uriel, Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael in
Yeah,
across all the spiritual belief systems. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly.
that's so it's interesting.
It's really interesting. So I am actually so excited to chat with you because angels and angel mediums and all of this kind of stuff is one of my like real joys in life, and
Oh,
Um, I know that I don't even know how you got into the work that you do. I'm really fascinated by people who are able to tap into that realm because it just feels like it's a certain vibration. It's a very high vibration of blessing, of love. Whenever I think of the angel, the angelic realm and tapping into those angels, it's very pure and very loving. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
curious,
it
how did
is.
you get into this work? And
Okay, well, I was trying to think of a way to shorten my story because it does go back a bit, but it started with an angel intervention. I've always been, since I was in my teens and in my 20s, I was always interested in crystals and New Thought authors, as they were called then, like Louise Hay and Norman Vincent Peale. The How to Change Your Thoughts to Change Your Life. And I had tarot cards when I was younger, but I had never really thought about angels. I'm not raised in a particularly religious family, so that wasn't introduced to me in that way. So when I came to Australia, I'm originally from an island near the UK called Jersey. I came to Australia as a traveller, and I was travelling across the mountain range, coming back to where I was staying on the coast, when a voice told me to stop my car. So it was a strong masculine voice. I was on my own in the car, and the road was pretty empty, and it was raining. And a loud voice said, "Stop." And I thought perhaps there was someone out on the road. So I slowed down and wound my window down and had a look, and there was no one there. And so I continued, and then around the next corner, the angel said, "Stop," again. It was very deep, loud in my ear this time. So I paid attention, but I really slowed down. And there was a multiple car accident had just happened, a pile up on around the next corner. So that set me on a journey. Everyone was fine in the accident. I have to say that because I know we're all sensitive. Yeah, everyone was fine, but there were cars everywhere, and it would have been dangerous if I'd have kept going at the speed I was at. So after that, I had questions. I really was seeking the answer to who had spoken to me, why me at that moment, and I just needed to know. And I started to get a lot more signs, like feathers every day on my doorstep. I heard that same voice call my name quite often. I heard celestial music. All of these things started happening to me. So I went looking for answers, and it eventually led me to a spiritual teacher who was all about angels, and everything that she said in that seminar that I went to had happened to me. So I knew it was angels. I really, really knew that was the angels then. And I've since realized that was Archangel Michael, because I now hear his voice a lot when I'm doing my reading and teaching and healing.
Wow.
So that's it. That led me to want to learn more, and I went to training. I developed my intuitive and psychic gifts, and that's when everything just came together, and I had the vision that I would start my own business, and that was 20 years ago now. So I started out doing one-on-one healing and readings for people from my home clinic, and it's evolved to an online business now over the last few years. Yes.
So your first interaction with the angels, probably not your first, because I think that they're
Mm,
around, this realm is around us all the time. We just don't, it's just beyond the five senses. But the first way that you kind of took it in was clear audience, that the angels spoke to you, right?
that's right.
So how do you do your readings now? I'm just curious, there's obviously there's clairsentience and people tap in different ways. How is it that you tap in when you do your readings? And
Now I tap in using all the channels because I've learned to develop them. So interestingly, when I started out and my own training, I realized that I was clairsentient, that I'd been really sensitive, really empathic my whole life, and that I hadn't realized that it was an intuitive, a psychic channel, right? And it was through training that I learned that it was. And then I think that clairaudience happened because it was an intervention, a life and death intervention, that it came at exactly the right time. And that would have got my attention much more strongly than a feeling, right? The feeling I might have ignored. So the developing my clairsentience really helped my other channels to develop. And that's what I teach in my programs, is that when you rely on your primary gift, all of your other channels open. So I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, claircognizant, and they all blend together beautifully in the readings, because they kind of work together, like an orchestra.
oh, it's amazing. Do you ever feel like when you walk into like I was once in a grocery store in Texas, and this woman comes up to me and said, "I'm sorry to like interrupt you, but I just got like such a strong, like your guides are really strong, and they just spoke to me, and this is what they told me." And like this is like in Houston, Texas, like in the middle of a
Wow.
grocery store. And I said like, "Wow!" And actually, what she said was so on point. So I'm just curious, like, we all move through the world tapped into with a certain amount of intuition and a certain amount of, tapped into these different senses. But do you receive, you know, I've also spoken with mediums who are, the guy was in a restaurant. This is how he found out he was a medium, and he started like getting all of this information about this woman's husband who had passed on. So I'm just curious about how you move through the world, and does it affect you on a day-to-day basis?
It can, and it does, and that kind of thing has happened to me. But after a while of working one on one with people and being busy in this work, I realized that it's actually quite difficult to be on all the time.
Right.
So I've learned to protect my energy, and it's something I really teach as well in my courses, because I think it's lovely when that kind of thing happens, and it can happen, beautifully. That was beautiful timing for you. That lady had to tell you that at that moment. Perhaps that was what you needed in that moment.
Right.
But I think sometimes being switched on and tuned into everyone all the time, especially as a sensitive empath, it can it can be overwhelming. So I always describe it like our aura is like a trawler net. And when we're switched on psychically, we're out there in the world with this huge trawler net pulling in information. And it can be overwhelming for the sensitive person. And also I have a belief that ethically, I don't like the idea of reading people without their permission. So sometimes you may well get that, like I've got to tell that person something. And I had a conversation with a hotel reception guy recently who was telling me his story, and something just came out of my mouth. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you didn't mind me telling you that. And he said, no, that was fine. But generally, I keep myself to myself
Yeah.
so that I'm not
Unless you're in
drained.
the
Yeah.
space, somebody who's open and they're asking, for you to be a channel for them, right? For their
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
angels.
And it's an
So,
energy exchange too, right?
yeah,
We're in an agreement. Like some people aren't open, and perhaps they would take it badly.
right.
If you told them something that was
Yeah,
very personal, they could take it badly. But it's lovely when it happens and you're ready and it's the right moment.
exactly. And usually that's how it works, right? Because it's anyway, it's all divine timing.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
so I know how you work with people one-on-one, and you also have a master class, and I know you've written a book about intuition, about using your intuition. Maybe you can just
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about how you work with people, and then I'd also love to hear if you have any story. I love stories. If there's any story of a student with their angels or angel stories in general that you can share. Yours
Absolutely.
so powerful about the car accident. But,
Yeah, that story still gives me goosebumps. And even though, it happened to me that long ago. And I think anytime the angels give us their time, their attention, their guidance, it's really powerful and we can feel it, right? It's an authentic feeling that gives you those goosebumps. So I've always worked as a healer, energetic healer, working with the angels, clearing lower energies, helping people. And then just recently, I've stopped doing one-on-one healings with people, apart from in my mentorship program. So now I'm focusing mostly on teaching and helping people light workers to open their gifts and to know and fulfill their purpose. Because I think there are so many awakening souls right now. There's so many people who are looking for authentic, genuine information, and that they want to allow their gifts to unfold and find out how they're meant to express that. So I'm focusing a lot more on teaching in my programs. I've got a program called Angel Communication and one called Awaken Your Soul Gifts at the moment that they're online, but it helps people in that way to not only find out what their guidance is, but to help to be able to share the ways, learn how to bring through guidance and give it to other people. I think that's a really powerful gift to give people. But I still do readings. I do half-hour and 1 hour readings, one-on-one as well. So I just love working with the angels. Yeah. So I
amazing.
had
And
this
actually,
thing.
people really, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like,
Yeah.
I feel that what you do is so powerful. I heard a video that you shared a couple of weeks ago. It was on a Sunday, and it was about, just inspiring people towards following this path, because it's so outside of the realm of most of the conditioning that we grew up with. It wasn't like, oh yeah, their possible career is in, angelic communication or communicating with souls or anything really in the spiritual realm. It's
Mm.
it's part of this awakening that's happening and that has been happening, and that's been kind of a slower process. And it's really beautiful how you encourage people to follow their soul in that way, because I think that we need that from each other to support each other in following our soul, because it's just so opposite of a lot of the messages that either we received growing up or that we get from society, and to really believe in yourself and to go that way
Yeah.
takes a lot of courage.
I agree with that. You put it so beautifully. Yes. And I think we can follow the opinions of others. We can follow what we think we're meant to be doing in the world. And, we forget that there's more than one way to live your life, and that your soul has a plan, that there are certain gifts that you have. There are certain things that you've come to do. And you've got free will within all of that.
Right.
And your angels are there to help you understand what your soul guidance is and to give you, open the doors, show you the path, and guide you away from your challenges and help you to overcome the difficulties and the obstacles. So your angels are like your personal guides, coaches, teachers, and healers this lifetime that have come to help you to remember who you really are on a soul level and tune out those ego voices and the opinions and the fears in the world, right?
Yeah.
All of that. Yeah.
So
So
beautiful.
I love that because I think once we realize there's a soul path and we're not supposed to be keeping up with everyone else and we're not supposed to be comparing ourselves with anyone else because everyone is unique and everyone has the same connection to the angels that I have and you have. Everyone can hear their angels. Everyone can tune into that guidance. You don't have to become an angel medium to do it. It might be the last thing you want to do, but you can just expand your senses a bit to be able to tune in and have lifelong guidance in a direction that brings you peace. And that's ultimately what it's all about. I think about bringing us peace and fulfillment. Yeah.
So beautiful. And
Yeah.
yeah, like the angels can guide you to learn how to, you know, how to protect, especially how you said like a lot of the people who connect with angels are usually, very sensitive souls who take on the pain of other people and have issues with like boundaries and, feeling like, can be in a bad mood because their partner's in a bad mood and etc. And so learning, I feel like the angels can also guide us to learn how to stay rooted and connected to ourselves and to connected to that strength and connected to that soul. That's just like our higher soul, and not to be, manipulated and pulled down and all these things. Like the angels can
Yeah.
help us really with a lot of that stuff, right?
That's right. And I think by helping us with that, they help us to become more of who we are, like our full potential.
Yeah.
And we start to let go of the things that aren't us. And really, I think if you're sensitive and empathic, you have extra angels because they know how hard it is for us in the duality. you know, we live
Yeah.
in an environment where there's a lot of fear, but there's also a lot of love. And if they're two frequencies, and if we can tune out of that frequency of fear and tune into love and learn how to handle, transcend, or overcome fear, then that frees you up in so many ways. It frees you up to do what you want to do with your life, to live your beautiful life.
Totally.
Mm.
It's so interesting because I wasn't planning to share this, but when when I first like started to connecting with angels, it was through my spiritual teacher who was very connected with them, and I was working with her on a few different projects. Her name was Karen Berg, and she was also with Kabbalah. And I remember one angel in particular. At one time, I was like kind of gathering the information and about Haniel, and then it was about maybe 8 months later or something like that, and I was going through a really difficult process. My brother, who ended up passing away, was sick. He was going through very serious mental illness, and we were me and my mom were dealing with it. And I was out of my office, which caused me like a lot of anxiety and stress. So I was like stressed and pulled in all these different directions. And I
Mm.
remember I was sitting outside, and I just like asked that angel. She came to mind, he, Haniel, it, whatever. And I asked for that help because I know that she's an angel that can help, with that feminine energy, with the healing, connected with the moon. And I think that it was a full moon or something like that. And I remember
Yes.
just calling in that energy to be with me. And I was outside and I felt like this huge peace. And I released this like stress inside about not being in the office. And I just made peace with that. I made peace with these different situations. And I was like in the midst of so much chaos, it felt like, and kind of like drama and afraid about my brother and with my mom and, a lot of emotions around.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a really powerful experience with that angel where I could really feel her presence and her help, you know?
That's beautiful. That is just, and I was about to say Haniel is about peace, and you said that was the feeling that came over you, was a feeling of peace. And lifting out all of that sort of whirlwind of
Yeah,
different emotions that I'm so sorry for your loss of your brother as well. Let me just say that, and blessings for that. And it feels like your angels gathered around you to
totally.
help you out of that storm. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So you were going to share a story about your a student or somebody who had an angel story also.
Yeah, sure. And it's interesting because the story that the angels gave me today, because I was thinking, but what am I going to say? What am I going to say? And I thought, yeah, this is the perfect story. It's similar in a way to what happened with you. So a lady came to see me. I'll change her name to Jenny, but it was when I was doing the one-on-one healings, and she came to see me, and she had completely lost hope. She was in a workplace which was very toxic. She had a bullying boss, and she was someone who was a giver in all ways. You know, she worked in an industry that was all about giving and helping and healing people, but she had this very angry energy around her from what was going on in the workplace. And she'd also recently lost a relative who was the person she was closest to in the world. And the way that person had passed away had left her with a lot of guilt, which wasn't hers, but she felt like she should have done more. And she was just at the lowest ebb. And when I looked into her eyes, there was no light in her eyes, and she was on the edge of giving up. So we had a very powerful healing with Archangel Michael, and Archangel Michael helped her to clear her attachment to the workplace, to the grief about her family member, and to try and reframe it a little bit so that she remembered to let go of that guilt and grief. And she sort of walked away feeling a little bit lighter, but she said, I don't know if I can stop blaming myself. I don't know if I can get through this. And then she called me a couple of days later, and she said she'd had an intense dream with the angels. And it was Archangel Michael and Mother Mary, I believe. And she'd had this immense peace come over her where she knew everything was going to be okay. And after that, she left the job, whereas I was trying to persuade her before that her guidance was to leave the job. And she was pretty sure that she couldn't, that there was nothing else out there. She got offered a job somewhere else, much nicer environment. She was able to sell her home that she'd been stuck with for a long, long time. And her life just completely changed. And the light came back into her eyes, which was the most amazing part of it. And I think from that, I realized as well that the healing doesn't just happen in the session. You know, once you ask the angels for help, that what it is that we need comes to us in the perfect and divine way for us. And for her, she had the healing that was important, and it sort of opened a crack a bit. You know, a bit of light was able to get in. And
Yeah.
then she went home, had a sleep, and had this amazing intervention, which just gave her faith back. I think it was a lack of faith that was putting her on the edge there.
Wow.
So it was a profound healing, and it was profound to see the change in her eyes.
Yeah.
That was something that really, really stuck out to me. You know, I've got lots of stories of people who have been sort of immersed in that fear, and fear energy. I always see it like black clouds,
Yeah.
and it builds around us in our aura, and it blocks off the light and and what the angels can do is to remove those heavy energies, the emotions that cause them, the thoughts that cause them, and that energy, which then opens us up to be able to connect back in with that higher frequency of love and hope, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. The angels bring such like a beautiful blessing of beautiful energy of blessing and light and the angelic
that's
realm. I
right.
don't love that the vibe and so much heart energy. At least that's been my experience with it also. And it's beautiful. While you were saying, you mentioned the word intervention. So angels are like intercessors, right? And you also mentioned Mother Mary. So it's interesting because intercessors, I mean, and I don't know exactly how the spiritual world works, but it's my understanding that you need to kind of call upon the angels and this is something that I also learned from my teacher Karen Berg, that they're kind of, angels are like messengers. They have a job and they do the job, but we can actually call on them to help us and to say, can you help me with this? Angel Michael, can you help me with this? And they act as intercessors between us and the divine, right?
Yes, yes, they're divine messengers. So I think that we're given the angels as a gift from the divine to be our sort of personal versions of the divine, and to carry our prayers and to intervene where needed, where necessary, and to bring us the answers to our prayers too. You know, if there's a spirit, an answer to something we've been asking for that comes from the divine source, it's delivered to us by our angels, and I see them like heavenly translators. It's like the spiritual energy is sometimes so high that we can't quite work it out,
Yeah.
and they bring it down to our level because they can manage to be in this sphere energy, love energy duality with us. Yeah, and they can only help us if it's life and death before our time, or when we ask. So we
Right.
really need to use our free will and invite them to help us with whatever it is we need help with, what we're struggling with, what we want to manifest, what needs
Right.
healing. Yeah.
Even inner feelings, even, I'm having a feeling about this. Can you help me to make sense of it, to, see what I'm supposed to learn from it, etc.
Yes. Yes, definitely. It is very personal. So you can, and I always say, pour out your heart. Tell them what you are thinking and feeling,
Right.
because whilst you're pouring out your heart to them, you're giving them access. They can come closer, and they're also able to lift those heavy energies. I did a meditation, or like an opening meditation in my course yesterday, and immediately everyone said, oh, I feel lighter. And someone said, oh, I feel lighter in my chest. They come in and they take that heaviness so that then we can figure things out.
Yeah.
We can
Different vibration.
reconnect.
Yeah, from a
Yeah,
different vibration, from a different space, we elevate our vibration, and then new possibilities come in, etc. Things like
that's
that.
right. Yes. And then we're now open to the infinite possibilities instead of just being closed down and thinking, oh, this is the way it has to be, and I'm stuck and I can't change. Mm.
So beautiful. So we have
Mm.
like a lot of, I know that we just had a big eclipse. I'm not even sure how that works in the hemispheres with the moon and the eclipse. Did you guys the same full blood
We
moon
had
eclipse?
it too.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
Um,
I think they couldn't see it in England. I think the UK was the only place on the planet that they couldn't see it, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, we could this time.
so it's like a lot, it feels like it's a lot of change. And then like, it's like the day after, we here in the US, we had all of our elections, and it feels like it's
Hmm.
just, had an astrologer on yesterday, and she was saying we're going to feel the effects of this eclipse for at least 6 months, and even well into 2023. Like, it's bringing in a new energy,
Yeah.
and I was wondering if you have any message from the angels about these changes, and maybe how people can use this time, or what can we know from the angels that can help us to move forward and to elevate and to become more of who we are.
Yeah, sure. So from the angel's perspective, this is another opportunity to reset. So the eclipse, they showed me when I was asking them this morning, that they showed me the like blindfolds coming off. So being able to see things like we were talking before from the perspective of love instead of fear. And so we've had a lot of big events, haven't we, over the last few years, astrologically and generally, humanly. And so each one, the energy is building because we have more of an opportunity to wake up to our own spiritual selves, our spiritual truth, and to reset the way that we're thinking and the way that we're creating in the world. So that was something that was really clear, is that if you want something different, to start to work with your angels, ask them. You don't need to do a special prayer or anything. Just say, angels who are around me, please help me. And ask to perhaps be shown things in a different perspective, especially if there's a lot of fear in your mind. ask for help with resetting your intentions. Like, what is it that you want to create in your own life, in your own world? But also, how do you want to see the collective outcome? And to be in a state of compassion and love when you're thinking about that. So it's interesting because so many of the world events, things like elections and things like the pandemic, have had it's like the whole world is thinking in the same way or thinking about the same thing.
Right.
And the angel's guidance is, remember your power. You have the power inside of you to see things differently and to not feel like you're a victim or powerless against whatever is going on in the world.
Right.
And that your thoughts and the way that you envision the world is very powerful. It has a powerful outcome. So that doesn't mean you're trying to control the outcome of a specific situation, but if you can hold the vision of the world being peaceful, being loving, people being kind to each other, and come from that place yourself, it's like riding the wave of this eclipse energy and the portal and the full moon and everything that we've got going on this week.
Yeah.
They also said something, because I asked particularly because you said you did send me a little preview of the questions. They did say that to step away from the me versus you mentality and do what you can to share or give or do something in the name of love and oneness over the next couple of weeks, and try to move away from that them versus us energy.
Wow.
That's really strong at the
Powerful,
moment. Yeah.
because recently I've been thinking about that a lot. Like, even some people perhaps who I don't, maybe we don't see eye to eye or we've clashed in the past. And I realized, wow, they're actually, and this has been a process over the past, actually since December, the Great Conjunction, this became very apparent for me that most of the time, the people in our reality are mirroring parts of myself. Could be either something inside that I need to see, just bringing up a reaction, could be something that my inner child needs to heal, could be a shadow self, could be that their behavior, how they're acting, and I'm like, oh, well, that's awful. But actually, maybe that's just something that I've repressed, because when I was a little girl, maybe it wasn't okay to act like that. It was selfish. It was, considered bad, wrong, unless you were, caring for other people. And so I've had to really work on reintegrating a lot of different parts of myself, and also seeing that the other person is also a part of us, also has that divine spark. I don't need to agree with them on everything, but at least to recognize that they too have that spark of the divine inside.
That's right. Yeah, that namaste, hey, that I see the soul, the spirit in you,
Right.
and it's also in me. So yeah, and to remember as well, because we are in a duality, which means that people get polarized, and
Right.
fear is the most polarizing thing of all. As soon as people go into fear,
Right.
they can get rigid. So if we bypass that, not by saying you're wrong or this isn't what it should be, but just by role modeling love and asking the angels for that as well. Some people are never going to come over to that, right? Necessarily in our lives. I'm thinking from the perspective of, sometimes if you've got a skeptic in your life who doesn't believe in angels or doesn't believe in spiritual beliefs, or thinks that it's something that they don't, is opposite to what they want. The angels have always said to me, don't waste your time and energy trying to get someone over to your side. Just allow them to be what they're going through, because that's what they need at that time.
And kind of by
send
giving
as
them
much love.
space. Yeah. No, it's so
Yes.
beautiful. Kind of like by giving them their space, you're doing something even higher. You're elevating the whole situation.
Yes, rather than letting your ego get into, I'm right, you're wrong, or, oh no, I hate being judged, or whatever it is to recognize. Because when someone lets go, it's like two people pulling on a tug of war rope, right? When one person lets go, the other person's got nothing to pull on.
Yeah.
So that sort of angsty energy. So I loved that this morning when they said, just share love or food or something with someone and change the me versus them energy.
That's so beautiful. So, does anybody have any questions? Maybe there's some questions
Yeah.
anyone want to ask any of the angels. So, do you channel mostly Archangel Michael? You said he's your favorite, or do you channel more angels? You know, if somebody
I,
asked a question of you, could you kind of tap into the angels now?
I can tap into the other angels. I work with Archangel Michael mostly because I guess he's the one that showed up for me to start off with, and I'm really a big promoter of protecting our energy, not from fear, but from from a perspective of fear, but from just looking after our energetic field and keeping the energy always high in integrity. And of course, he carries that sort of transmutation, which gets rid of a lot of the toxic attachments that we carry with us sometimes,
Yeah.
because we're human. But I work closely with Archangel Raphael, and yeah, I do tune into the other archangels. Sometimes they pop into a reading, or when I'm working with someone. So yeah, there's lots of ways. Oh, I can scroll on your screen as well. There you go.
Yeah. So, if
I've
anybody
done
has
that
any
before.
there is one angel that I've done many, like, I used to do a lot of angel meditations, and I always liked working with, maybe it's because I have a lot of like Scorpio, like strong energy. So I'm like, yeah, let's get some change in here. But also my brother's name was Nathaniel. So Archangel
Oh,
Nathaniel, yeah, he's
beautiful.
pretty strong energy. Like I remember doing some meditations with him, and like you can actually, I felt like this energy come in. Like he's like strong. He's the ones that I did. It was
Mhm.
like you visualized your path, like the obstacles in your path being burned away, the confusions, the doubts, the fears, because he's really like an angel. Like I think he's connected with the fire element, like can burn away
Mhm.
confusion and things like that. Have you? I don't
And
know if you.
he's one of your guardian angels, one
I
of
don't.
your
Well, my
spiritual
brother is
team.
definitely a guardian angel, but I don't know about. I don't know. I just always connected with his energy, even though it's
Yeah.
angelic. Among the angels, he's one of like the kind of stronger. You got to be a little bit brave to deal with him because he brings in the change, and you got to be ready.
Yes, yes. Okay. Yeah, I've got you. Yeah, no, but when you were talking about him, I could see an angel step forward. And I'm not sure what he's holding, but it looks like a big parcel almost. But it was like moving, he came in strongly moving forward. So I saw that as one of your guardian angels. That's
Wow.
someone who's with you a lot. Yeah.
Oh my
Which
gosh.
is which is lovely. So, like you said right at the beginning, I think the spirit realm is hard for us to understand, right? We don't have the full picture of it because we're down here in our physical bodies. We
Right.
will know, we'll remember. But it's not a coincidence, is it, that Nathaniel and Archangel Nathaniel
Yeah.
are both the same name? Mm,
Exactly. And can you
I
tap
love
into
that.
to guardian angels? Like, do you feel like you could get if I asked my guardian angel to bring through a message? You feel like you could tap in?
You can, I can. When I do readings, what I first do is ask my clients' guardian angels to step forward, my guardian angels and Archangel Michael and anyone else that wants to be there, and from the angelic realm. And then they sort of create a kind of a committee where they're all contributing to the reading.
Oh, I see.
So sometimes there will be a specific message from a specific angel, or it might be that because our angels are speaking from our soul truth, it's often that they're all echoing the same strong message.
Right.
And so I just love to bring that through because some psychics will tune into your aura or different energies, but I like my readings are always obviously angel readings. Yeah, so you definitely can, and it would be nice to sometimes one angel will show up because you've got so many with you that they couldn't possibly all just say, hey, it's me, it's
Right.
me, it's me. So one will show up as their representative. So it was interesting that Archangel Nathaniel just stepped forward then as soon as you started talking.
Wow.
about him. Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like he's got a gift for you or something that's much bigger than you've been visualizing it. So it's like, and I feel like you need to, these are the words, these are not coming from me. It's like, don't play small. Don't
Wow.
play small. It's like have a bigger vision. And they're showing me that you're very grounded. Your feet are very much on the ground, and that you've had a really beautiful spiritual grounding, as in the basis of what you've learned so far has been really authentic and beautiful. So I think you're stepping up into teaching as well, aren't you, eventually?
Yeah, in some ways,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So I think that's what's coming forward for you. And it's not going to be difficult. It's just do it the simplest way. Do it in the simplest way possible. And it will just unfold for you. You'll meet the right people. You know, that's what's in the parcel. It's like it's all kind of figured out. Don't worry.
Wow,
You
that's
just
so
have to take the
powerful.
step.
Thank you so much.
Mm. No, you're welcome. You're welcome. When it comes that strong, you have to say something, right? And
Yeah,
we're in this very
totally.
angely space right
Yeah, we're a
now.
very
Yeah.
angelic space. And yeah, I
Mm.
wanted people to know that you teach, we said it earlier in the live, but you do master classes. You teach people how to tap into the angels for themselves, how to tap into their
Yes.
intuition, how to live more from that place.
Hmm.
From
Yes. And
that.
I've got two books. I've got I brought them with me. My Life with Angels, which is my story, but also stories of many of my clients. And also it's got how to access the guidance and the healing of the angels. So that one's on Amazon. And then I've got this one, which is for sensitives and empaths, loving your sensitive self. It's how to protect your energy. The angels channeled this to me, but it doesn't read like a channeled book. It's like a how to again, how
Mhm.
to protect your energy, why you're sensitive, what things you can do to change your auric behavior so that you're not drawing in other people's energy sometimes.
Mhm.
And yeah, that one that came to me because I was having such a hard time as a healer to start my first year. I was, oh, help. And they said, okay, you need to start learning about your own energy field and how to stop taking on everybody else's energy.
Wow,
So
that's
those are my two
powerful. So
books.
can you
Yeah.
hold those two up again? Because I had somebody call right
Sure.
in the middle and I don't want,
So
okay, you
Loving a Sensitive Self, that's on
loving it.
Amazon as well.
Okay.
My Life with Angels, how to access the wisdom and healing of the angels. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So both angel guided. So
Wow.
and that's why I love to teach, because I think everyone needs to know their angels. They need to connect with their angels, because once the angels are with you, it doesn't mean you'll never have problems again, but it does mean that you'll easily transcend them and you've got that spiritual support with you every step of the way. Mm.
Exactly. And it's almost like they can support us in a way sometimes, especially some of us who feel somewhat misunderstood at times, or, the angels, they have an understanding that's beyond. And they can be such a comfort in that way because they're kind of, humans, we all have our incapacities and capacities because of whatever we grew up with, but angels just
Yeah.
are always connected to that bigger picture. And so it's so beautiful to be able to connect with them. And sometimes even if you just have, sometimes I think about family members or people that I'm just, have a little worry about, and I say, you know what, I'm going to do a little meditation. I'm going to send them some angels. I'm going to send them light. I'm going to send angels this way. I'm going to
Oh,
send angels over here. Or if I see someone like kind of driving crazy, or an accident, just drive by, you can send angels. You can send angels to a lot of places, right? Divine light, angels.
that's right. That's it. And it's not intrusive. It's a really beautiful, powerful way. And it helps you to not carry that worry and stress in your own energy, that if you say, okay, I hand this over to the angels,
Yeah,
please help that person or that animal or that driver. And it does work.
and it
It
does
does
work.
work. It's beautiful. It's beautiful that you're doing that. I think And we've got no idea how that impacts the people that we're, what a beautiful energy that's bringing
Exactly.
to those people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember
Mm.
after my brother passed and my dad also passed, it was like very close together. So I became like kind of obsessed with
Mm.
watching near death experiences, and people who had crossed over. And one of the things that I heard in several of those was that they when they saw like a picture of their lives, or they were able to see the bigger picture, they actually felt the prayers of everyone who prayed for them, who sent light to them, and they felt that love from the heart. And that's not usually something that we actually immerse ourselves in or remember on a daily basis, but the love and the light that we send to other people, it's kind of like another level of reality.
Yes, because it's the energy, isn't it? And I guess when our loved ones go over to the other side, they're much more, they're in the energy, so they can feel our energy when we send it to them. I love that. That's such a beautiful thing to remember, that
Yeah,
your loved ones do hear you and they do feel the love that you send them.
yeah,
Keeps us connected. It keeps us connected,
exactly.
doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that we're all connected. So is there
Mm.
anything else that you feel to share today?
I don't know. I just have to say, I was about to say earlier that one of my favorite teachers is Dr. Wayne Dyer. And since you were talking before, I was really feeling, when we were talking about the eclipse, I was really feeling his energy really strongly as well. And I think your question about the eclipse and the elections and all the other big energy changes and the changes that are happening, that I'm getting goosebumps. His work was always about sharing compassion, sharing love, sharing peace, and connecting to the making a strong conscious connection to the divine, and the in a way to bring that through. And I think that we're conduits. Each of us are a conduit. We don't realize it. We think, okay, we're physical beings, but we're conduits between the divine and earth. And so in that way, that's why the angels love us. That's why they want to work with us. That's why they bring us our messages. They revere us. They don't look down on us at all. They think we're amazing. They've shown me so many times giving us a crown. Like, that's their way of saying, I think you're amazing. And just to remind you and everyone that we are conduits of this divine energy. And as soon as we call on an angel, we're bringing that divine energy into earth. And if we send it to others, or to places, or to politicians, or whoever, it doesn't matter, that energy is able to move through and make a difference. So remember that you're a conduit for love. That's the last thing I want to say.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And as you were speaking and you said you pull it in, it's like I could feel the certainty of that. Like it takes a certain amount of
Yes.
certainty in the divine. Like, okay, if there is this divine energy and it is
Mm.
all loving and all good, then it must be there. So how can I bring that through to be in this realm, a conduit for it?
That's right. That's right. It comes from, we're physical manifestations of spirit. So it
Yeah,
comes down through our crown chakra. It literally drops in through us. And so when we pray, that's a mudra. It's calling in the energy, bringing it down. When we make intentions, it radiates out from us. If we go to sacred places, we bring that energy through even more strongly. It
yeah,
charges us up. Yeah. So I love this. I can feel the energy really strongly as we're talking too. It's really powerful. Thank you for
me
inviting me.
too. Me too. Thank you so much.
It's
It was such
lovely.
a pleasure and such a joy to connect with you. I remember that I think I just came across your profile, and I've seen so many different it's amazing, so many different angel readers, but I said, like, there was something so special and so pure about your connection that I was like, I really would love to have her on the Cosmic Chat. So, and thank you so
Thank
much for joining
you.
me. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I've loved every minute of it. So I appreciate it so much. And let's connect again, however we do it. Let's just have another chat sometime.
lovely.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much, Rachel. Have a beautiful day.
You're welcome. Angel blessings. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you.